Okay, we are in a series of leading like Jesus and leadership lessons from the Bible. And this week, I want to talk about how Jesus connected with people, his secret to connecting with people, right? Because how can one man influence millions and millions and millions of people over 2,000 years after he's been gone? And so, in the book of Luke, chapter 2, in verse 41, this is a story about the boy Jesus, when Jesus was a little boy. Now, a lot of the books in the Bible don't talk about that. But here in Luke chapter 2, verse 41, it talks about how his parents, Mary and Joseph, went to Jerusalem every year for the feast of the Passover. And when Jesus was 12, they brought him up to Jerusalem for the feast. And when the feast was over, it says the boy Jesus lingered behind in Jerusalem, and Joseph and his mother didn't realize, Joseph and Mary didn't realize that he decided to stay behind. Like, who's ever had a kid, you're shopping at the mall, and they're just stuck at this thing and you've moved on and you didn't realize that they weren't following you. So basically a few days later, can you believe it? A few days later, they figured out that Jesus did not follow them back. And so they freaked out. And of course, I'm ad-libbing here. This is not New King James Version. This is Liz version. So after 3 days, they went back and found him in the temple, sitting in the midst of all the teachers, both listening to them and asking them questions. All who heard him were astonished at his understanding and answers. So when they saw him, they were amazed. And his mother Mary said to him, "Son, why have you done this to us? Look, your father and I have been so upset. We've been so worried." And he said, "Why do you seek me? Did you not know that I must be about my father's business?" But at the time, they didn't understand the statement that he was saying. So here I wanted to talk about how even at the age of 12 years old, Jesus was listening and asking questions. He was listening and asking questions. Would you agree with this statement that people don't care how much you know until they know how much you care? Well, if we are spending all of our time trying to connect with someone, blabbing, and we're the ones doing all the talking, but we have not yet first taken the time to listen to them about their life story, where they're coming from, asking questions about them to get to know them better. There's a verse in the Bible that says, seek first to understand versus to be understood. Seek first to understand where the other person is coming from. Maybe they offended you. Maybe they said something hurtful to you. Seek first to understand their point of view and where they are coming from before you try to be understood. And so when you spend more time listening and asking questions, that is truly the way as a leader to win someone's heart. My pastor this weekend at church said, we don't win others' hearts by condemning people. We don't win others' hearts by condemning people. This is a note for all the parents out there. And I'm a learning parent as well. I have 3 little ones that I'm learning how to be a better parent every day. Lord help me. But we don't win their heart by condemning them. We win their heart by listening and connecting with them first. When we can relate to them, when they can feel understood, seek first to understand them and make them feel understood versus us trying to be understood. And as a result, amazing things happen when you do this. Listening using your ears more than your mouth. God gave us 2 ears and 1 mouth in that proportion. So shouldn't we learn how to relate to others, our brothers, our sisters, our neighbors, and the people that we lead by doing that. The number one leadership mistake, an amateur leader that starts leading people for the first time thinks they have to be the one to know all the answers. Your people are going to call you because all you guys are amazing budding leaders that are starting to have lots of people that you're leading. And we sometimes feel the pressure like, oh no, people are going to call me. Maybe they're venting to me. Maybe they're complaining. I felt in the beginning of my career that I needed to have the answers. I felt stressed out when someone would call me with an issue because I'm like, oh my God, now I'm responsible for the answer or I'm responsible for the solution. But if you take a deep breath and recognize that your only job is to listen and relate to the person and even show compassion towards the person. I'm so sorry that you're going through this, or I'm so sorry that this is happening. Then you can ask them empowering questions. Instead of giving them the solution, I have people call me all the time with problems. And people say, how do you handle that? I say, I don't handle it. I listen to them and then I ask them questions like, well, the next time that happens, what do you think would be the best course of action for you to take? The next time that happens, what do you think is the best course of action for you to take? And that way you're not taking on the problem, right? That's not our job as leaders to take on other people's problems because we need to be out front leading, navigating, and we can't be weighed down. You didn't sign up for this business to be weighed down by other people's problems. This is called independent associate, leading other independent associates, not dependent associates. Same thing is for us. I want to make sure when I'm calling my leader, and all of you guys are such a blessing, by the way, because you guys already do this, okay? So God bless you and thank you for being the people that you are. But when I call my leader, I make sure that I'm not, if I'm going to call with a challenge, because I need to talk about it. I don't want to be alone, and we don't want people to ever feel alone. So you can call me if you ever have a challenge. I don't want you to ever think you can't call me. But what I do is I always make sure that I come, instead of saying, this is what's happening and I need you to fix it for me, I come and say, this is what's happening. I believe that this could be the answer, or maybe this is the solution. Which would you direct me to take? And so when you're empowering your team to solve their own problems, ask them questions like, well, and it's okay to say, so, oh, sorry that's, and that must have made you feel awful, right? What solutions, if you could jot down some solutions, what can we do about it? What can we do about it? All right. Or you could even say, I give people permission if something really bad happened and they're really upset and maybe they kind of feel like they're not going to get the answer that they're looking for. I'll just say, you know what? I'm sorry that this is going on. And you know what? I give you full permission. I give you full permission to have a pity party for, set your alarm for 30 seconds, okay? And stew about it and cry about it and have a pity party and complain about it. But then when that alarm goes off, we need to get up and get moving. So grab a pen and paper. What are things that we can do about it? Or, what can you do about it? And so when you ask empowering questions, or even what are you going to do about it, it empowers them to realize that they are in control. Because did you know that the only things we complain about in life are things that we have control over? No one complains about gravity. Why? Why don't we complain about gravity? What do you think, Tika? Why don't we complain about gravity?
Because we don't have no control.
That's right. I take this juice, I drop it on the floor, it's going to spill everywhere, right? But we complain about things we have the power to change. Oh, I don't like where I'm working. Well, you've got the power to change that. Oh, I don't like, this flabby belly. Well, we have the power to change that. I know it's not always as easy, but we do. We have the power and the resources to get us to where we want to go. So as leaders, you have the amazing responsibility of one thing, and that is leading with your heart, leading with your ears, leading with your eyes, by listening to them, making them feel in that your heart feels empathy and compassion towards what they're going through, and that you are paying 100% attention to them through your eye connection if you're in front of them physically, right? Not like this, right? While they're talking to you. And I'm guilty of that. Okay. And I, you know what? I need a reminder daily because my kids come to me unannounced, unscheduled. Like they didn't have an appointment. They just walked into my door while I'm in the middle of doing something that I'm like, can't be interrupted, but they do. And, but I just need to just do this, right? Because that's how I'm going to gain and win the influence of the people that I lead. Thank you, everybody. Until next time.